Autonomy. What is it? Is it important? What does it have to do with being a self actualizer? And how can I build autonomy in my own life? My name is Marquita Hudgens, and welcome back to The Voice Behind the Voice. I have been breaking down what it means to be a self actualizer through this podcast series. Today is a dual episode. I am recording the podcast, so I'm on video and audio. I'm trying out the headphones for the first time. I guess I can kind of hear myself differently. It's a little strange, um, but I'm here and I had to, get my jitters out. I'm trying to be like extra professional and stuff, but I'm trying to get my jitters out. One thing that I have been learning throughout this process of being a self-actualizer is that it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not like one day you just wake up and everything's positive and everything's great and you can always see yourself being this great, wonderful person. It's not like that. We have our bad days. Honestly, today was one of those days for me where one person said one thing, like the trigger is one of those things where like somebody says something and it's a trigger, but you can't go off really because of who they are. And you kind of just have to be like just grit your teeth and act like they never even said it. But I had one of those days where it was like, it was one of those things they said, and then it just stuck in my head, and it was just like, so I'm like doing my pretend conversation, telling them what I should have said, and it really brought me down, and there's this like one side of me that like wants this person to know how much they really bring me down, but then on one end I don't want to give them that upper hand. I just want it to be like, I just want them, as far as they know, I want it to be like, as far as they know, what they said went off like water off a duck's back. I don't need them to know that that they did anything wrong. I just want, and then, once I'm out of here and I got my stuff together, then I can be like, okay, look, this is where you're wrong. You know what I mean? But I can't do that yet. And it's very important for me to be a self-actualizer. Of course, as we've learned, not everybody can reach this point of being a self-actualizer. And for me personally, there's a lot of material stuff that's on the pyramid that takes priority according to Maslow. That takes priority over being a self-actualizer. But for me personally, me realizing my own potential is bigger than, or more important to me than someone else seeing me. More important than having a car. More important than me having my own house, because I'm just in a situation right now where I know what I would do with a house and a car. You know what I mean? I know what I would do with them because I can see my potential. And that's gonna go over some people's heads, but I know what I would do with them, and it's not something that I desperately need for myself, but it's something that I would use to leverage and to get farther ahead in life. Sorry, this is bothering me. Sorry, podcasters, you will never see unless you look at YouTube what exactly is bothering me and what I'm doing right now. But so so just to, let's just go ahead and get into it. Self actual something blah blah blah. We know what a self actualizer is: someone who can see, recognize their full potential and the fulfillment of their talents. So one thing on the list of things that I read that go into being a self actualizer is the ability to be autonomous. Excuse me. And autonomous actually means, um, sorry, I'm on the wrong thing. Okay, I don't even know why I'm trying to look at the notes. Autonomous is a sense of independence. It's not necessarily like we're going into this having your own house and having your own car. Not in That's the difference between autonomy and independence. Independence is when you are like, you really, in a material sense, you don't need anything. Autonomy is when you are self-governed. You understand what it takes for you to be who you are, and you focus on that, where you're not focusing on what you're not living your life the way that your mom wants you to live or your dad wants you to live, or anything like that. Like you're at a point in your life where you have your free will. You don't only have your free will, but it's activated. The free will is activated. And I see that as coming with being an adult, but that's not always the case. And I can even look back in my own life and see when I was an adult, but I didn't have free will because I didn't understand. I did not know. I was ignorant to the fact that free will went past material possessions and or even past what the Constitution says, right? So it's like you can actually hold yourself accountable and accountable for your actions, and hold yourself accountable for like your values. You can actually pinpoint your values and your morals, and like you have a vision for your life, and it just goes hand in hand with being a self-actualizer. So there's that. And then a reason why it's so important, because we all have rights as human beings. We have the freedom of speech, but for those who don't, who are not autonomous, it's easy for other people's opinions to govern your life, and it's easy for you to allow, like, I did talk about projecting. In episode 11, I talked about how people, how if you want to be a self-actualizer, you have to drop um, that whole like displaced emotion type of thing. Like, you have to own up to your insecurities and your fears, and own up to your disappointments and all of that stuff, because you don't want to be in a situation where you're constantly projecting those things onto other people. And then also, you have to be able to handle when other people are projecting their fears and insecurities and disappointments on you. And man, why am I talking about projecting? Yeah, so when people are projecting those things on you, you don't just, like, I wish I would have known in my early 20s what projecting was. what autonomy was, what self-actualization was, because a lot of times, even in high school, a lot of times I allow people to um, project how they felt about themselves and their own failures and shortcomings onto my dreams and aspirations. And right now, at this point in my life, I'm feeling the the urge to let you know that you cannot continue living your life as someone who allows another person's fears and insecurities and disappointments and feelings of helplessness and hopelessness and anger and anxiety and depression. You can't keep, I mean, people are going to project, people are gonna do it, it's gonna happen, but you have to stop letting that control your life. You have to be able to recognize when someone is just projecting on you. Like the whole thing that I went through, like I was talking about earlier today, it actually took for my husband to say, hey, he's just feeling this way. And, he can't help it. But you have to realize that you are who you are. And it was good to have that, because especially lately, I've been the one who's like, no, get that out of your head. No, like I've been the coach. And so to have that today was beautiful. But back to talking about autonomy specifically, there are things that you can do to build your to build autonomy in your life and to fortify that sense of independence. And we're not talking about material. I do not want to talk about material possessions, because I feel like this is definitely, for everything happens for a reason. And I'm just one of those people who, and I have self-loathed about this plenty, but I am one of those people who, it's like material things lose value very quickly for me. And it's a matter of, like, unfortunately, if those material things are attached to my credit, um, I'm learning that this is a perfect time in my life, because I have very, very little things attached to my credit, but it just seems like there's always some sense of self-sabotage happening, where I mess up, I slip, I drop the ball, and now that I have kids, it's like they're breaking everything, and and even me, I've had moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, why do I keep breaking stuff? But I feel like all of the issues with material possessions that I've had in my life have led up to now, to where I can tell you, you can be a self-actualizer, you can be autonomous, and it have absolutely nothing to do with material possessions. Yes, I say I'm going to be a billionaire, but I don't want to be a billionaire to have cars and big houses. I want to be a billionaire to make more billions, and to teach people how to become a billionaire, and to enrich people's lives, and to help people grow, and to show people that, like I said earlier, money is just a spiritual thing. It's not about material possessions. It's about what you can do for someone else, how you can give and help other people grow. And so there are some things that you can do to fortify that autonomy in your life. And the first thing is that you have to, we're going back to self-awareness. You need to realize, come to terms with what matters to you. Come to terms with how you feel about yourself. What is your worth? Like we talked about self-respect. What is your worth? What is your value? What matters to you? What do you have to offer? Those things I can't remember what the episodes were. I'm sorry. Um, but definitely before episode 11, we talked about, let me see, episode 11 was self actualization part 3. So episode 10, 9. So I think 7 and 8 were self awareness and self respect. But you just have to go back and find out. But definitely, let me go up a little bit. Okay, so definitely being aware of who you are, accepting yourself. That's like the big one. Let's just say number one is accepting yourself, being aware of who you are, um, seeing value, knowing your worth, accepting who you are. No one in this whole wide world has to accept you except you. It does not matter. You have to accept you. Okay? So, um, that's number one. Two, you need to be, you need to, I'm trying to use different words, so please forgive me. You need to find a way. Find a way to be self sufficient in all areas. Like I was saying, you can be self sufficient without material possessions. Um, but you need to find a way to get to a point where, like, okay, I don't like asking for help. That's on the surface. But really, like, get deep into it. I don't like needing to ask for help. Not that it makes me feel weak. If I do need help, I'll ask. If I really feel like there's no way that I can help myself, I will seek out help. But it's good to be self-sufficient in a way that it's like, for me, right, especially now, it's like if it costs money, I kind of don't need it. Like, I already have what I need. And there's different infrastructure and systems set in place um, to help me, in my situation. Everybody qualifies for something, right? But you need to be in a situation where you are self-sufficient, because autonomy is here. And if you're constantly asking people for help, and it's just so regular for you, it's so normal, like, oh, I'll just ask so and so. That's not autonomy. Like, in no way. It's not independence, and it's not autonomy. It's a mindset where you need to be self-sufficient in as many ways as possible. Um, I'm very happy at this point in my life, because um, I'm finding things that I've had for, some things I've had, for like 6 months, a year, years, ages, and and things that people have given to me, things I bought, things I've just acquired along the way. Um, I'm finding these things, and they're becoming useful. And it's like I need something, and I'm like, don't I have something like that? And even now, like, there's a lot of times where I'm like, oh gosh, it's in California. I'm in Texas. I'm like, man, it's in the storage in California. Those thoughts are not fun, because I'm like, man, what I could really do with that. But I know that upon me going back to California, that stuff is gonna be there, and um, I want to be in a place where I could just pick up and just go to California when God says, okay, go. And I feel it. I feel it coming. I feel Him. The Lord is telling me that I need to get rid of stuff, and I need to make my transition smoother. And it excites me, because as much as I do not want to live in California, I can feel, I know what I'm supposed to do there. So it's gonna be easier for me this time around being in California, because I feel the purpose. I've never felt the purpose of being in California. But anyways, that was too much information, way off topic. But being self-sufficient, I just find myself finding things now, and I'm like, "Ooh, I need that. Ooh, I need that." And so that was number two. Number three, um, be flexible. You need to be open-minded. You need to be able to just take things as they come. Okay. Um, and that was a part of being a self-actualizer, was being spontaneous. Um, you need to leave yourself open to just be able to change and humble yourself in that way, to where your ego is not so stuck on how hard you work to get this far. Like, you need to know things are going to change, and you need to be able to go with the flow, right? Roll with it. And another one, that was three. Um, Dang it, I had a good one. That was number three. Number four. Number three was gonna be very spontaneous. Okay. No, that was three. I mean, number four was gonna be very spontaneous, but it quickly left my mind. Um, so where are we? Accept yourself for who you are. Um, find find different ways to be self sufficient in as many areas as possible. Um, and then three was be flexible. Okay. So four was be willing to adapt. Yes, it sounds the same um, as being flexible and being spontaneous, but willing to adapt, meaning that change, you have to be open minded, and spontaneous, because changes are going to happen. And those changes will put you into a place where you need to basically um, become a whole new person. Not that you change who you are, but you're going to be a new person. Your environment's going to be different. You have to be willing to meet new people. You might be eating different types of food. You have to be able to adapt, um, like like animals do, right? Adapt to the habitat. Um, Number five is being like a jack of all trades. You need to learn as much as possible. Um, you know, without what is the Bible says? For a lack of knowledge, my people perish. Or I know it says without a vision, my people perish. But there's another one that talks about knowledge, and you definitely you want to be you want to master different things. So it's good, like I said, to have an open mind and to be able to adapt. And as these changes come, you want to learn as much as you can about this new season that you're stepping into, because as you step out of that season, you're going to have to you're going to be in a position to where, in order to really get out of that situation, you're going to have to teach other people. And I don't know where that came from or who it was for, but yeah, um, the teaching part, that was something that just kept coming. But you need to master as many subjects and skills as you possibly can. Um, you want to be ready, right? And a lot of times, here's another one. Um, it's gonna be put on your heart. You're gonna have an urgency to learn things that have nothing to do with what you're doing right now. And then you're going to find out that when you go into that next change, that next environment, that next season, um, it's going to be right on time. You're going to have exactly what you need, because when you were in the last season, you were preparing for this season. So you're going to find things that spark your interest. Don't put them on the back burner. Run fast and forward, okay? And who cares if you mess up? Who cares? Fail, whatever, right? Just move. One synonym for autonomy is ability. Strengthen your ability to do a multitude of things. Learn, develop a skill set, right? And then, was that 5? Let me see. Except, and then find different ways to be self-sufficient. And then being spontaneous, adapting. 5 was learning new things, mastering different subjects and skills. And then 6 is, you know what, we're going to leave it at 5. I'm not even going to do a 6th one, because I feel like I was going to say something to the effect of finding more things to learn, but like, I think I covered it. I think I covered it in 5. So we're going to stick to 5. I didn't know I was going to do a 5 thing, but here I am. So now I have to put 5 tips on building and fortifying autonomy, or personal, I'll say individual autonomy. I've seen that in some things. So I'm going to tell you, you know what I am going to do, you guys? I did a whole rant about how I'm not about to spoon feed you lazy people these links, but I'm going to go ahead because I have time, because episode 16 is a ways away. I'm just early. I have time. So I'm going to go ahead and put the links that that helps me build this list, and the definitions and all that stuff. I'm going to put them in the description, because God is working on my heart, okay? So forgive me for calling y'all lazy. But you know what? Definitely, I'm loving this, and I'm hoping that you got the audio. I'm hoping that this whole headphone, microphone hookup thing, like, worked. I hope it worked. But but yeah, so that's it. And I'll be seeing you and talking to you tomorrow. Have a beautiful morning, day, evening, night, whenever you decided to listen or watch this. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.